This is one of my closers calendar for my AI agency. Every single one of these calls is a booked sales call with a business owner who is potentially interested in buying my services. This happens on a week-to-week basis. We book about 10 meetings every single day on average, except for Sundays is when we take off. We're able to do this consistently with one simple ad setup that most people overcomplicate way too much. So in this video, I'm going to show you the entire thing, how to set up your campaign. So even if you're spending $20 or $30 a day, you can still book meetings consistently. Also, how to pick the right industry to run ads in, how to build an offer, and how to find winning ads that are actively working. So when you launch your campaign, you're not guessing and you know what to expect. And obviously I'm going to set up this entire campaign, sharing my screen so you can follow along and get this launched today. Nothing in this video is theory. I have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars across my own agency and other agencies as well. I've helped a ton of people start their campaigns for the first time and book meetings. So let's get into it. But if we zoom out a bit and just look at the pieces of the puzzle that we need to build a ad system that books meetings and closes clients for us, all we need is a winning ad, a way to get opt-ins, a way to book meetings, a way for them to show up, and also a way to close them. Before I show you step by step, I need to show you how to set up your campaign so you're not wasting your budget, because this is where 90% of beginners launching their first campaign for the first time die because they set it up wrong in the beginning. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see people make in the beginning is copying the big agency's ad structure. Maybe they watch a YouTube video or an Instagram reel and then set up their campaigns exactly how these big guys do it. But one thing to keep in mind is they're probably spending, $1,000 a day or, $100,000 a month. And so your structure, if you're spending $20, $30, or $50 a day, for example, needs to be a specific way for you to maximize your results and not just waste money. So again, what I see most people do is they'll set up one campaign. They'll maybe have, let's say, 3 ad sets within that particular campaign. And then in each ad set, they'll have, let's just say 3 ads. I'm just going to quickly draw these. And so there's a thing called CBO and ABO. So CBO is campaign budget optimization. So having the budget at the campaign level. ABO is ad set budget optimization. And so if you're not familiar with how Facebook ads work, there is your initial campaign. And then in the campaign, you can have a bunch of ad sets. And then in the ad sets, you can have a bunch of ads, right? So it's kind of like a pyramid. But you can set the campaign budget at a certain point. So say you want to, evenly distribute $30 a day across the ad sets. You would need, to spend $10 in one ad set, $10 in another one, and $10 in another one. Or if you set the $30 a day budget at the campaign level, what Facebook's going to do is just going to find the winning ad set with the winning ads and distribute all that money into that one particular one, and maybe spend a little bit of cents here and there. Right? They might spend like $29 a day in the winning creative and then spend a few cents across all of these ones. And it's going to continuously test all of these. So basically what you're doing is you're kind of restricting Facebook's learning phase because you're just giving it a lot of things to analyze with not a lot of budget. And so what this will do is it'll force Facebook to be continuously in the learning phase because the budget is spread thin and no particular ad is getting enough ad spend to get enough data for Facebook to exit that learning phase. And so being in the learning phase, especially in today's day and age with how Facebook works, it's super important that we want to get out of that learning phase as fast as possible, but we can't do that if we have a ton of variables for Facebook to test. If it's really hard for Facebook to test, it basically just means that our cost per lead is probably going to be pretty high. We're going to be spending a lot of money and not seeing a return. And it's just negative for us, negative for Facebook, negative for everybody. And so the right way to do it with a small budget is just have one campaign, one ad set, and then in that ad set, just have 3 individual ads like that, right? So it's very simple. Have the budget at the ad set budget optimization level. So the ad set level, $30 a day here. And so all it has to do is Facebook will just test these 3 creatives. Very simple, and it will just put all the budget into the winning creative. If you're not familiar with what the word creative means, it's pretty much just like the image or the video that we're running on Facebook itself. There's also some other words I'm going to be using throughout this video, but don't worry, I will explain what they all mean. But keep in mind, this is super important. We want to give Facebook one simple process to test so it gets out of that learning phase and gets us more results. The next thing that I want to go over is the pieces of the funnel. So the first thing that we have is, well, we'll go like this, lead form. And lead forms are on Facebook itself. So Facebook lead forms is what we usually call them. I don't know what I'm doing there. Facebook lead form. And then we have a opt-in page, and then we have a calendar page. Facebook lead forms open up inside of Facebook or Instagram itself. Most of the time, especially when you're first starting, you just have like 2 questions in there. How much is your business making per month, as well as how many jobs can you take on this month as well. And then just name, email, phone number, business name, stuff like that. What Meta will do when people on Facebook or Instagram open up that lead form or, click learn more on your ad, a lot of the times it'll have it automatically filled in for them. So all they have to do is click submit. It's very low friction. It'll get us the cheapest leads, but usually most of the time it's the lower intent leads. The next thing is the opt-in landing page. This is when somebody clicks learn more or whatever the call to action is on your ad. It'll bring them off Facebook onto a website, which we usually call a funnel, where instead of the form being on Facebook itself, the form is on the funnel. And again, you set up that funnel. There's a little bit more friction here. You're going to get fewer leads, but they're going to be better quality. And most of the time, this also helps increase our show up rate on those calls. Because sometimes, somebody submits that Facebook lead form, Facebook auto fills in their information, they just click submit, they'll forget. But if they go onto a separate landing page, then opt in there, they're going to probably remember, your company name or doing that action in general. And then obviously the last part is the calendar page, which is the booking funnel, the booking page. And most of the time, if they've reached this booking page with the calendar on it, it means that they've already opted in through the Facebook lead form or that opt-in page that we set up. And either of those things will redirect them to the calendar page. This has the most friction, the fewest leads, but always the highest intent because they're actively scheduling a call with us, on our calendar. And so just so you guys can visually see what I'm talking about, there is the Facebook form, and then we have the opt-in page. These are separate. So again, you would just kind of choose this on how you set up your campaign in the beginning. I'll go over what I recommend most people do. We have the opt-in page. And then it'll go to the calendar booking page. And then obviously the ad is over here, right? So that we start off with the ad. It'll go to either a Facebook lead form, and then once they submit that information on the Facebook lead form, they'll have an option to go to the booking page to schedule a call. Most of the time, with a Facebook lead form, we get about a 14 to 15% opt-in rate with a opt-in funnel. The most we can get, majority of the time, it's about 10 to 12% opt-in rate. And then on the book a call page, only about 40% of the people who opted in will actually go into schedule a call. So we'll have about 60% of the people who just submitted their name, email, phone number. We want to call these people ourselves and then book them in. All right. No matter what, we obviously want to be calling these people. If they book in themselves, we call them self-books. If they just opt in, no matter where they come from, we always want to make sure that we're talking to the prospects on the phone before the actual meeting, because that's how we'll get people to show up. We'll be able to pre-qualify them. We're not wasting our time. We're not wasting our closers' time, whatever, all that stuff, right? So you can obviously, in the beginning, I recommend you guys just start off calling these leads yourselves. As time goes on and you start spending more on Facebook, you get more leads, you can get a setter to do that stuff for you. And so my recommendation for beginners is to go with as least friction as possible. So obviously just the ad, which goes to the Facebook lead form, which goes to the booking page. And so on the Facebook lead form itself, we might have like 3 questions again, like, oh, what's your monthly revenue? What's your capacity to take on more jobs? And then just another question that says just like name, email, phone number, right? So one ad, very simple, goes to a lead form on Facebook and then brings them to a booking page. We want to keep the questions on the lead form minimal, because the more questions that we have, the less people are going to actually go through those questions, and it's just going to make our cost per lead higher. Because when you're starting, you need volume and data before you have, perfectly qualified leads coming in. You can call them and qualify them over the phone, but you can't qualify leads that have never come in. You obviously need to make sure that when these leads come in, you speed the lead within ideally the first 5 minutes. They get an instant text message automation. And again, you just call them as fast as possible. But I want to, go over why it's so important, again, that you start off with low friction, because this is a huge mistake that people make, right? If we have 3 points within our journey, the prospect journey, say that this is the lead form has just a few questions here. So the ad, they click on it, brings them to the lead form. Then there's kind of 4 steps they need to go through. And then there's 1 step on the last part, which is book a call. This is very minimal. There's not a lot of steps. A lot of people can, easily go through this process. So our cost per lead is going to be really low. As time goes on, we might implement an opt-in page, maybe add another question here, maybe add some questions on the calendar form, maybe add a disqualifying question in this process. So it actually, you know, DQs people who aren't making a certain amount of money, because say, for example, people who are making less than $10,000 a month with their business probably can't pay you $1,000 or $2,000 a month. So we don't want poor people coming in our ads. We want people who are making money. But the point is like, as we add more friction in this journey, our cost per lead is going to raise. So in the beginning, we need to prove our offer. We need to make sure that it works before we add in more friction. The next part is making sure that we're picking the right industry to run ads in. There's a quote by Warren Buffett that I like a lot, and it basically just says, doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters the boat that you're in. So it doesn't matter how hard you work, how good you are at Facebook ads or closing. If you're in an industry where it doesn't make sense for your clients to stay with you, you're just going to be running on a treadmill. You're not going to be making a lot of money, and you're not going to be able to grow. There's kind of three main things I like to look at to make sure that a niche is good to go into. The first one is it makes sense for your clients to stay with you. Say, for example, you're working with a landscaper who does $50, grass cuts, and you're trying to charge him 1K a month plus, he's spending $30 a day in his own ads, right? He's spending about, 2K a month. You would need to get him a lot of mowing jobs just to break even, not even to make a return. So it doesn't really make sense. But if you work with a roofer, for example, or a hardscaper, and their job is $20,000, if you get them one job and you charge them 1K a month or even 2K a month, plus they're paying $50 a day in ad spend, it'll pay for a few months, right? So this is very important to keep in mind, especially when you're running ads, because ads will only get more and more profitable as you retain your clients, which is very important to keep in mind. You need to be retaining your clients always, because it will make ads a lot more profitable. The next thing is owners of a business actively want more jobs and are willing to pay to get more jobs, because obviously more jobs equals more revenue for them, and they probably want to grow their business. And then the third thing is you can reach them at volume, especially when we're running ads. We're going to reach a lot of people. The industries that we need to be in need to be large. Like, for example, landscaping. There's a few 100,000 landscapers out there. We can run ads for a prolonged period of time. They're not going to really fatigue at all. It just makes more sense for us to do it. The points that I like to avoid, again, are the industries that charge really little for a service. Say, for example, hair salons or barbershops, restaurants, stuff like that, and industries that have been absolutely ran through and burned by a lot of agencies before. For example, like roofing or remodeling. You can run ads in there. It's just your costs are going to be pretty high, and the prospects that are going to come in are going to be pretty ass. Especially if we're spending $30 or $40 or $50 a day, we need to pick one industry. So it's very simple for us. We just have one simple offer, one campaign, one setting script, one sales script. And so that way we understand the industry a lot better. We understand how to run ads in it, as well as talk to the prospects to close them to make money for us, because obviously if we're spending money, we need to make that money back. Next thing that is important to keep in mind is choosing the right offer to run. Nobody just buys marketing services or, Facebook ad managers. They always buy a specific outcome. And there's an analogy that I like to, well, it's not really an analogy, but it's an example, right? When travel companies are marketing to you, they're showing you, the palm tree. This is my palm tree. Well, that's, on the beach, and you're going to be chilling here. The blue water, right? And they're making it seem really nice. Like, this is the travel spot you're going to go to. We're going to give you pina coladas, stuff like that. But they're never telling you about the journey to get there, right? Which is you probably on a plane. Maybe you went through the airport with fluorescent lighting everywhere. Maybe you had a bad TSA experience, or you're sitting between two fat people on the plane, right? The travel companies aren't selling you the way to get there or how you're going to get there or anything like that. They're just always selling you the outcome. So when we're crafting our offers, we never want to just tell people that we're going to be selling them Facebook ads, or we're going to be helping them run their marketing or something like that. We always want to lead with the outcome, which is more revenue, more jobs, more estimates, more patience, whatever industry that you're in. So for example, we're going to bring you, let me just type this out. We are going to bring you, say, 10 jobs per month, 10 finished jobs per month, and then maybe some risk reversal on a complete pay on results basis, something like that. Or, we're going to bring you 10 finished jobs a month, guaranteed or you don't pay. That way we're reversing the risk back on us, because if we just say, 10 jobs a month, people are going to look at that and be like, oh, I probably have to spend money on that. Probably going to have to take some sort of risk. Even though there's always risk to every single decision, especially within business, we want to minimize that risk as much as possible to make it a no-brainer for these prospects. Then something that I didn't clarify is having a time frame that is realistic, right? So 10 jobs, 10 finished jobs, which is their dream outcome, in per month, which is time frame, on a pay on results basis, which is the risk reversal. And so this is actually a very believable outcome as well. One thing that we can do to make this offer even better is effort and sacrifice, right? So there's a thing called the Alex Hormozi value equation. And essentially, it's a way to craft offers. So the way it works is dream outcome, which would be like the 10 jobs, 10 finished jobs, reduce the time delay, 30 days. You can even say, 10 finished jobs in 25 days or 20 days, the shorter time frame. But we also have to make sure it seems believable. So increase the perceived likelihood of achievement, make it seem realistic. Obviously, we wouldn't say 10 finished jobs in a week for roofing contractors. That's kind of unrealistic for most roofers. And then reduce effort and sacrifice. So say, for example, we're running a video ad and we're explaining the process, explaining our offer. We would want to explain that, we run Facebook ads or we do Google ads, whatever your service is. Then we have AI that pre-qualifies those people for you, books them onto a calendar. So all that you have to do is show up to the estimate, right? Very low effort and sacrifice on their end. Like they wouldn't have to call leads. They wouldn't have to, jump through hoops and talk to prospects all day long. All they'd have to do is just show up to the estimate. And so if we implement all of these elements into our offer is going to be a no-brainer for a lot of people. And it's very important to keep this stuff in mind. And we also want to simplify it as much as possible, because if the prospect can't repeat your offer back to you in one sentence, it's probably too complicated. That offer will also become the headline in your ad, the main text on the actual ad itself, the text on the funnel, the text on the lead form. And obviously when you set call these prospects, they might bring it up. So it's obviously very important that we nail this and it's congruent along every single process in our marketing Facebook ads funnel. All right, so for this next part, what we were going to want to do is have ChatGPT open, as well as Facebook ad library. Okay. If you're unfamiliar with what the Facebook ad library is, it's essentially every single active ad that is currently being run on Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. Okay. And so we can search through this database and find winning ads in our industry. All right. So for this example, what I'm going to do is we're going to click on the ad category, go to all ads and search up roofing leads. Okay. When we do that, if I'm going to make ads in the roofing industry, the next thing I want to do is click on filters, scroll down, make sure that we're selecting a month prior, because if somebody's running an ad for more than a month, it probably means that that ad is working. All right. Then we can just scroll through here. I'm going to find some image ads. Say, for example, this one where it's like these people on a roof. And I'm just going to save this image because this specific ad has been running, started May 25th. So it's been running for a while. It means that that ad's probably working. All right. Keep scrolling. I'm just going to find 3 ads that I like. This one, we'll do this one too. Do this one as well. Can do this one. Maybe we'll just grab another one more that I think is good. Just gonna find one. This one's good too. Okay, save it. And then we're going to come into ChatGPT, just drag and drop these creatives in here. Go back into where we crafted our offer. And I'm just going to talk into ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, so here's a bunch of winning creatives. what I want to do is I want to put my offer on those creatives instead. And then I'm going to use those and run those and set those up in a campaign. So I'm in the roofing niche and I am getting people 10 finished qualified jobs every single 30 days on a pay on results basis. That's my offer. If you could use these creatives and put my offer in there instead, that would be great. All right, something as simple as that. Once that's done, once ChatGPT transcribes it, we're just going to send it. Let ChatGPT go over and actually create these ads. Give it a second here. All right, so once it's done, ChatGPT will spit out the creatives. Obviously, some of these are a little bit messed up. So let me just go over exactly how you need to structure an ad creative, especially just like static ads. Okay. So the first part, let's just say this is the ad creative. We need the call out, which is at the top, which, for example, in this specific creative, it's, attention roofing contractors. Call out, then offer, usually straight in the middle, so it's very clear what the offer is. And so the offer is here. And actually, this is, the call out is attention roofing companies over $100,000 a month. And so this is a little bit of a qualifier. And so what Facebook's going to do is it's going to read this creative, see that it's for roofing companies over $100,000 a month. It's going to target those types of people, but also the people below that. So the number in your ad, specifically like static ads, is usually the ceiling, and you're going to get everybody below that and usually nobody above that. It's good though, because if you want to get more qualified prospects, a lot of the time, the types of prospects that you're getting depends on your actual ad creative itself. Okay. The next part is obviously the offer, which here is 10 finished jobs or 10 finished qualified jobs every 30 days on a pay on results basis. And then you can see this creative particularly had $0 setup, $0 monthly pay on results basis only. Obviously, that's not our offer because we want to be charging something to set it up, or maybe you have a retainer or something like that. So $0 monthly doesn't really apply, but the concept is the same. So the pain points, right? So you have your initial offer, 10 qualified or 10 finished qualified jobs every 30 days, only on a pay and results basis. And then you have their pain points, right? So what they're already dealing with, what they don't want, or ideally what they do want, right? So 0 setup fee, $0 monthly, pay on results. Essentially what this does is when people read the offer, they immediately associate, painful things or things that they don't want to do. Like, oh, I don't want to pay a retainer to some agency. And so if you address that within the ad itself, then the people are like, oh, actually, wait, I read this and that's not how it works. Okay. And then it will bring in more people. But again, one thing to keep in mind is the things that you say on your creative is going to bring in that type of prospect quality. So if you say, $90 per lead or $90 per estimate, no retainer, no monthly, pay and results basis only, you're going to bring in people who, aren't willing to invest a lot of money into themselves. And so you're just going to get lower quality prospects, probably not as fun to deal with, stuff like that. And so for me, for example, I don't do anything pay and results basis. I don't do any like $0 setup fee, pay per lead only. I just tell people to get them jobs, and then I address some pain points, which would be like exclusive to you, for example, or 0% risk, or one contractor per area. That stuff like you can do instead, or no shared leads is another one. And so instead of doing stuff like that, you could literally just be like, hey, ChatGPT, so not the pain points aren't ideal for all of the ad creatives. If instead of saying $0 setup, $0 monthly, if you could say 0% risk, exclusive leads to you, or like no shared leads, exclusive to you, and then something along those lines where it's not telling people it's $0 setup or $0 monthly, because I do charge a retainer, I do charge a setup fee, stuff like that. And also if any of the other text like free to start, get rid of that, and things like that. All right, I'm just going to say that. Another thing, let's see if I can scroll up here, is so I'll let ChatGPT make those ones, but click the button and see if your area is available. So this is doing two things, right? So in the ad creative, we obviously have the headline, the offer, which is the main text, then the pain points, and then under that you could have something where it's like the call to action to make them actually be like, okay, now this is what you do once you read all this stuff. This is what you do, and see if your area is available, which is an exclusivity thing. So it's like, we limited to one roofing contractor per metro area. That's exclusivity. We only work with one specific contractor. See if your area is available. Okay. So I'm just going to let ChatGPT make these creatives again, and then we'll go in and set up the actual campaign in the ads manager. All right, boom. Now that we have the final product, honestly, this is pretty good. This is fine. We'll just stick with this. So looks pretty good to me. Now that we have these creatives, I'm probably just going to choose 3 of them because, again, I want to keep the campaign very simple. I don't really want that much friction. So I'll probably choose this one, and then this top one as well. These 3 ones, because they're all a little bit different with the same offer and stuff like that. The reason I like this strategy so much is because you never have to guess what works. The market has already told you, and you're just making your version for what's already proven. And one thing that I want to mention is that this strategy works, throughout different industries. So although in the Facebook ad library, I searched up roofing leads, this would work for landscaping as well. Like you could go in here and grab, see, this one was a tree service company as well. So we just changed it to roofing contractors, right? And so you can do this throughout multiple different industries. And so one more thing that we need before we actually go into create the campaign is we need a headline, which is down here. You can see like 50 plus roof replacements without paying for ads. That's the headline. And then we also need the copy, which is this piece of text. So again, for you guys, I told you that I wouldn't say terms without you understanding what they were. So obviously this is the creative, which is the image of the person. Then we have the headline, and then we have the actual piece of text. But we need to go in here and grab some copy as well. So I'll go to this one. We'll find, say, this one, for example. This is perfect. So I'm just going to copy this, go back in here, and say, now can you rewrite this piece of copy for my roofing offer? All right. So now it's just going to let ChatGPT write that out as well. Find a headline that we like. So this one is, unlimited pay per appointments. We have, let's see if we can find another one. Another static image ad. We don't guarantee, or we don't just generate leads, we fill your calendar with qualified roofing appointments as well. So I'm just going to use this as the headline because this is fine, just the offer. And then boom. So now we have the ad creatives, the copy, the headline. Now all that we have to do is just set up the actual campaign. Okay. And so I'm just going to set up this campaign in my own ads manager. So the first thing that we need to do is obviously you need to set up a Facebook business manager, then set up an ad account, set up a Facebook page, Instagram page, stuff like that. So I'm not going to go over all that in this video, but I'll just go over how to set up the campaign. So we need to click first on create, then click on leads, then continue. Then we have the campaign, the ad set. So this would be the campaign up here. I spelled that wrong. Ad set, and then the ad, right? And again, we can duplicate the ad set, have multiple ad sets, have multiple ads, stuff like that. But we just need to name the campaign. So roofing campaign, August 13th. Come down here again. We want to set the budget to the ad set budget. So ABO. And that's pretty much all we need to do for the campaign level. Come into the ad set, name this, we'll say roofing jobs offer, ad set number 1, just in case we always, change it later. I always like putting the date as well, so I know when this thing was launched. Just like that. August 13th, roofing jobs offer, ad set 1. I'm just going to split it up a little bit here. Then come down here, conversion location, set this to single instant forms. We don't need to set up a pixel for it because we're doing instant forms. Not dynamic creative, budget and schedule. So we just want to set this to 30 a day or however much you're spending. and scroll down to locations. Just set it to the entirety of the United States. Totally fine, or wherever you're running your agency, Australia, Canada, whatever, stuff like that. I like to make sure that all of this stuff, just to see what Facebook's doing, all these are fine. Further limit reach. We're not going to set up anything custom. I'm not going to set up any custom targeting, custom audiences, or anything like that. We just don't need to do that. I always just like having Advantage Plus on. I'm spending a lot of money right now on Facebook, and I just always have Advantage Plus on. Okay, Advantage Plus leads campaign, Advantage Plus audience targeting, Advantage Plus placements as well. So down here, placements, I don't even touch placements because again, if we just give Facebook as much control as possible over a campaign, it's just going to go in there and find the best converting, format or place, and you guys kind of get the point. It's just going to go out and do it itself. Okay, so don't restrict Facebook anymore. Just give it as much control as possible, and it will go out and do those things. Facebook is literally incentivized to get the lowest cost per lead. It's not going to purposely get you a high cost per lead, because guess what? Meta's platform is incentivized to do? Make money. And so the only way it makes money is if you get good results with Facebook ads. So it's always going to prioritize getting you the lowest cost per lead, because it continuously wants you to spend more money. Okay. So that's all we need to do. Then come into the ad here. Then we just need to name this ad here. We'll say ad, or say job offer ad number 1. Okay. Multi-advertiser ad down here. Just want to check that off. Then for the destination, we just want to click on create instant form, create a form, continue, create from scratch. Form name, we'll just, whatever the niche is, like roofing, lead form, like this, lead form, August 13th. I always go, instead of a more volume, I always want to go higher intent. Require leads to verify with their phone number with a one-time passcode. I always check that off. Share settings. I like people to be able to share my ad. Flexibility form delivery. Allow Meta to adjust or remove form elements. Nope, I don't want that on. Okay, next. Intro questions. Background image, check that on. Use the image from the ad. So I'll just take the ad and I'll put the background image there. Then headline, we'll just say, again, we want to go back in here and grab the headline offer. Just paste it in here. Then description. Going to ChatGPT. We help roofing companies. Like this piece, that's good. Like that. So we're congruent always. And then next. And then this is where we can add some questions. So what I like to do is multiple choice question. Question number 1, how much revenue is your business doing monthly? Or let's say how much, keep it short. What is your monthly revenue? Revenue, like that. Okay. And then we can do like 10K, 10K a month. Add some questions here. Right. Just add some questions here like this. Do 10K, 20K, 30, 32, 40K, 50, let's say 50K plus, like that. Okay. And then question number 2, how many jobs can you take on this month? You take on this month. So we just know like if they can actually take on the jobs that we're going to bring them. And say like 5, or let's say like can't take on any. Say 5. Actually make this question how many new jobs. Say 5, 10, 20, 20, 30 plus. Cool. And then what it will do is we then have email, full name, phone number. I just want to add a contact field. We can do work information and go to company title. So that way we have the company name as well. I don't want to make any of these optional. must let people know how you're going to use their data. Say your information is safe with us. Smiley face, something silly like that. Cool. All right. The next thing I wanted to go over was conditional logic. So what conditional logic basically does is it lets you disqualify people based on their answers. So if we check this on, we'll now see, we can go to question 1 and say, for example, they answer 10K. What we can do is just say close the form. So if anybody answers 10K as their monthly revenue point, just close the form on them because we don't want them, right? And that tells Facebook we don't want these leads. We want people who are doing above this certain point. So you could say if they answer 20K, go to question, make sure they go to question number 2, submit lead form. I don't know, go to question number 2. They answer any of these other ones because they're making 20K or 30 or 40 or 50. That's good. It means that they can probably afford our services. Go to question number 2. Okay. And then the next one is if, can you take on any more work? If they say no, close the form, right? Obviously, if they can't take on any more work, then why are they even submitting the form in the first place? 5, we can say submit the form, end page 1 for leads. And what this will do is it'll bring people to the contact information page, right? So submit the form, and 1 page, submit the form, a page right there, submit the form like that. So now we have that done. That's all the questions. Let me click on next. Privacy policy, you'll have to link a privacy policy here. I'm just not going to do it for this example, but you'd have to link your privacy policy here. You can always go to like privacy policy generator free, or you could just ask ChatGPT to make you a privacy policy and then make like a website on GoILevel and just paste that link in there. That's fine. Paste that link there. The next, end page 1. I'm going to make this step 1 out of 2 complete. Or, yeah, wait, hold on. Make that the headline. Let's say, yep. Description. We have received your submission. Please schedule a call with us below. Or please schedule your discovery call below. Okay, and then go to website, and then we would want to paste our calendar page in this link here, right? And you can just click on, make the booking link, book now, right? And paste your link in there. Then create the form, and that's fine. Obviously for this example, I'm not going to, because I didn't make a funnel landing page or a privacy policy or anything like that. For the booking page, it's pretty simple. You can just link your calendar in there, or you could set up a actual entire funnel page where it's like the top part. Let's say, for example, and I'll draw this out for you guys real quick over on, say, this side here. So the way that you structure a funnel is you need the first, kind of like the same thing like an ad. You need the subheadline at the top, so the call out. So roofers learn how to get, and then your offer, something offer, your full offer, how to get 10 jobs per month on a complete pay on results basis. So that would be like the entire offer would be like this section. And then under that, no more posting in Facebook groups, no more dealing with shared leads, no more dealing with low intent leads, their pain points. And then under that part, you would then have another line that just says, schedule your call below. Schedule call below. Okay. And so pretty simple. And then you just have your calendar booking page or your calendar linked right there. Let people select a time slot. And that's pretty much all you have to do for that. Okay. But then you want to create the form, and then you have your lead form ready to go. And if you need to, if you're kind of, maybe you're wondering, okay, well, where does information go when somebody submits it? If you're going to GoILevel, go into your sub account, and then the left-hand side, go to settings, integrations, integrate your Facebook account, and then it will give you an option to map the lead forms to values. Very simple. You can probably look up a YouTube video on it, Again, super, super simple. But once that's set up, there's going to be a quality filter option, require SMS verification. I'm just going to check that off. And then we have instant form nurturing. Don't want any of that stuff on. Add creative setup. So just click image add. Then go into ChatGPT, download the images, save image as, save it. These ones. And then just drag and drop the creative, one of the creatives in there first. Then just select that one. Go into here, go to the primary, so it says primary text. I'm gonna go back in here, copy the primary text like this. Primary text, headline, the offer. You don't need a description. Call to action. I'm gonna select learn more. All right. We don't need to do any of this stuff here. We want to make sure that we check this stuff off. Next, scroll down, check off add music. That. Make sure this is not on Spanish because we obviously don't want to attract Spanish speakers, unfortunately, unless you speak Spanish. Click done. And then now we'll have the entire primary text loaded in here, the headline, and that's pretty much all you need to do, right? On the right-hand side, you're gonna be able to see a preview of what your ad's actually gonna look like on your account that's gonna be running on. If we click here and check this off, you're gonna be able to see the form and then just gonna filter through the questions and see what the form looks like on your end, okay? Once we have this first entire ad set up, we wanna go into this section up here in the left-hand corner and click duplicate, show existing reactions, check that off, original campaign, duplicate, and you can, sorry, I should have done another copy of it, whatever. Advantage plus creative, always check that off, continue. You can duplicate like that, okay? Now we have 2 copies of the thing that we just set up. So you just wanna scroll up to the top and job offer ad, make sure it's ad number 2. Then scroll down to the add creative section where it says media, then click add media, add image, and then drag and drop one of the next creatives that we made with ChatGPT. And then just next, same process. Don't want any of this stuff off. Make sure you check the music off. Done. And then that's the next one set up as well. Okay, then we go into the other image one, the last add creative section, remove the media, next. Make sure we turn the music off. It's always on, it's so annoying. Next, done. All right, then just rename it at the top here, 2. And then that's all of our creatives set up, and then that's it, okay? Now again, make sure you map your lead form and then you can connect it to an automation. If you go into the automations within a sub account and then click the top trigger, you can just say Facebook lead form submitted. If you've mapped your Facebook account correctly and the lead form correctly, you should see it pop up there. It's very simple to do, shouldn't be too complicated. Again, you can just ask ChatGPT or watch a YouTube video on it. It's very simple. All right, now I just want to set some expectations for you guys because that's it. The campaign's entirely set up. Now we need to know what to expect from what types of results. One thing that's very important that you do is set up some sort of automation workflow where it sends the people a text message when they opt in. Okay. Again, when you set up the automation with the integration and map your lead form, then have that lead form or Facebook lead form submission trigger. Underneath that, you can set up an entire pre-call sequence. Again, inside of my free course, you can get access to all of my automations and everything that I use, step-by-step instructions on how to set it up. That link again is in below this video. Again, you can get all of my systems that I use around my agency for free. It's pretty cool. So I recommend going doing that. But once you launch the campaign, the hard part now is just leaving it alone and not looking at it. It's very important that you don't touch it every hour or 12 hours or 10 hours whenever you think, oh, I should have fixed this or something like that. You just let it run for like I was mentioning, 6 to 7 days until you get enough data to know what's wrong. You should be getting your first leads within the first couple days. You're going to be able to make real judgment after a few days once you read the metrics. And then if you close clients and make more money off of your ads, you can slowly scale the budget up. But now you might be asking, oh, well, how do I actually read the data? So here's a campaign that I'm currently running, and I'll just briefly explain the structure to it and how I, interpret this data. Okay, so this campaign is performing really, really well, especially these particular ads. The most important metrics to look at least if a campaign is performing or not, is CTR all. This basically tells us, is our ad creative capturing attention? If people are scrolling on Facebook and Instagram, is it making people stop scrolling? In the agency space, we want this to be about 2%. Okay. Obviously, I have a winning ad right now that's getting about 4%, which, almost 4.4%, which is really high, really good. Again, I'm just good at marketing, so I know how to do this really well. Yours might be about 1%. Again, ideally, we want it to be about 2%. Then cost per link click, we want this to be anything below $2. Okay. If it's below $2, it means, okay, we've captured attention. Now, are we making people act? Right? If it's $1, it means every dollar spent basically means we're getting a link click. And that's obviously really good. Okay. We have below that, super good. Again, anything below $2. If it's above $2, $3, it kind of, maybe our offer is not working. Maybe we have to tweak the messaging on the ad, stuff like that. And then we have CPM, which is cost per milli, cost per 1,000 impressions. So the way that Facebook works is when you spend money on Facebook, you're paying for impressions, and impressions means you're paying to show your ad in front of people. And so this tells us how much we're spending to show our ad to every 1,000 people. For example, the winning ad is getting at $34, which is actually pretty high. Again, in the agency space, we want it to be around $20. Okay, so 34 is pretty high, but again, I'm getting a really low cost per click and grabbing a lot of attention, so it doesn't really matter. So CPM will tell us, are we holding attention, right? So CTR all tells us whether we're grabbing it. CPM tells us, are we holding the attention? And then CPC, cost per link click, tells us, are we making people now act on the offer? Are they resonating with the offer? Okay, those are the main metrics that I look at. Those are the numbers that they should be at. If your CPM is $60 or $50, your cost per link click $6, your CTR is 1%, you got a pretty bad ad creative going on there. Okay. Another thing that I like to look at, obviously the North Star metric, is going to be your cost per lead form or your cost per opt-in, stuff like that. This specific campaign, I'm targeting really high-end people. So like people who do, a few $1 million a year. So I'm printing with this campaign. I'm really happy about it. Only recently launched it too, which is pretty sick. And the frequency is at 1.35. And so that's the next main metric that I look at is frequency. Frequency tells us how much on average people are seeing our ad. Okay, so on average, people are seeing our ad 1.35 times. If this is 2% or 3% or 4%, it means that on average, people are seeing our ad 4 times. If our frequency raises and our cost per lead also raises, that usually tells us that our ad is fatiguing. Okay. You'll also probably notice if your frequency raises, your cost per click is going to raise as well, because people are subconsciously just used to your ad. They've seen it so many times and it just isn't really resonating with them again. But say, for example, you were running this offer, it was performing really well, you're getting a really low cost per lead. You can just refresh the creative, just make a new creative, make it look different, keep the offer the same. Again, go through the Facebook ad library, get some creatives and put it in ChatGPT and just remake some. Then relaunch, put some new creatives in your ad set, turn off the old ones, let Facebook spend in the new ones, and you should get back to your maintained cost per lead, right? Very simple. But yeah, those are the main metrics that I like to look at. So that's the entire system. That's exactly how we start a campaign on, just $30 a day, scale it up to make our calendars look like this. And honestly, you could just rewatch this video and set up the entire thing yourself this week. Nothing I showed you is complicated. It's just simple things done in the right order.